1 year. That's all it took. One single year at the club he called his dream, and Kylian Mbappé is already on his way out of Real Madrid. I'm not speculating. I'm not clickbaiting you. The exit is happening, and the story behind it is so much messier than anyone in the media is letting on. I'm Sarah, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel where we don't sugarcoat anything. Today with Sarah is where the real transfer news lives. No fluff, no PR spin, just the raw story. And trust me, this one has everything. Betrayal, money, ego, and a decision that is about to flip the entire European football landscape upside down. So buckle up, because we are starting from the very beginning. Cast your mind back to last summer. The whole football world held its breath. After years of drama with PSG, legal battles, unpaid wages, the whole circus, Mbappé finally did it. He signed for Real Madrid, for free. The Galactico arrival everyone had been waiting for since he was a teenager tearing up League One. The photos were everywhere. The white jersey, the sold-out Bernabeu, Florentino Pérez standing there looking like the cat that got the cream. It felt like the perfect ending to the longest transfer saga in modern football history. Except it wasn't an ending, it was the beginning of something nobody predicted. Because here's what the cameras didn't show you. Here's what the press conferences didn't tell you. Behind the scenes, almost from day one, things were not right. Sources close to the situation, and we're talking people inside the club, not random Twitter accounts, have been quietly leaking for months that the relationship between Mbappé and the Madrid dressing room was complicated. And that's being generous. Let's talk about the football first, because that's where this story actually starts to crack. Mbappé's numbers this season, on paper, decent. Not bad. But for a player who cost Real Madrid nothing in transfer fees, a player they'd been building toward for half a decade, decent is nowhere near good enough. The expectation was 40 goals, Champions League glory, Ballon d'Or conversations. What they got was a player who looked uncomfortable, who clashed with the system, who never truly clicked with the players around him the way everyone assumed he would. And here's the part nobody's talking about of Vinicius Jr. Because Vinny and Mbappé sharing that left side was never as seamless as Madrid hoped. Two players who both want the ball, both want to cut inside, both need freedom to be elite. Something had to give, and quietly, slowly, it did. The performances dipped, the whispers started, and then the relationship with the fan base, that fan base that had worshipped him before he even kicked a ball in Spain, began to cool. You could feel it happening in real time. The Bernabeu is not a patient crowd. They have seen Ronaldo, they have seen Zidane, they have seen Raúl. Their standards are not human. And when Mbappé started going through rough patches, when the goals dried up in big moments, the crowd let him know. And if you know anything about Kylian Mbappé, if you have watched this man's career, you know he does not handle that well. He needs love. He needs to feel wanted. He needs to be the guy. And somewhere along the line, he stopped feeling like the guy at Real Madrid. Stick with me because this next part gets genuinely wild. Because it's not just about football. It never is at this level. There are reports, and these have come from multiple credible outlets in France and Spain simultaneously, which makes them very hard to ignore. That Mbappé's mother, Faiza Lamari, who has always been deeply involved in his career decisions, has been having conversations with at least 2 clubs in the last 6 weeks. 2 clubs. Already. While her son is still technically a Real Madrid player with contractual obligations that everyone assumed would tie him down for years. So who are these clubs? That's the question everyone is screaming right now. And here's where it gets really interesting. The name that keeps coming up, the name that makes absolutely no logical sense and yet somehow makes perfect sense, is Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool. Under their current setup, with the project they are building, with the commercial pull they have right now, Liverpool reportedly made a move. A quiet one, a professional one, the kind of approach that doesn't get leaked until it's nearly done. And the fact that we're hearing about it now, that tells you something. There's also a second name floating around, a club with absurd financial power, a club that has shown zero hesitation in breaking the market when they want someone. And that name, and I want you to stay right here because I'm coming back to this in a second, that name starts with a very familiar letter if you follow the Saudi Pro League conversation. But before we get there, we need to talk about Real Madrid's side of this, because Florentino Pérez is not a man who loses gracefully. And he is not just going to let Mbappé walk without making this as complicated as humanly possible. Here's the reality of the contractual situation. Mbappé signed a deal that, on the surface, looked like a long-term commitment. But buried inside that contract, according to sources who have seen the details, are clauses. Specific performance-related clauses, image rights structures, and, most critically, an exit mechanism that very few people knew existed at the time of signing. Madrid included it because they wanted leverage. They never imagined Mbappé would use it. And now? Now it looks like that mechanism is exactly what his team is exploring. Madrid are furious. Privately, absolutely furious. Because this is a PR nightmare on top of a sporting disappointment. And here's the part that really stings for them. They let Bellingham restructure his role, they shifted tactical plans, they essentially built this season around making Mbappé the centerpiece, and now they're sitting there wondering if they made the worst calculated bet in recent Galactico history. And here's where I need you to really think about what this means for the bigger picture. Because this isn't just a Mbappé story. This is a story about whether Real Madrid's pull, that historic, gravitational, irresistible pull that used to make every player on earth desperate to wear that white shirt, is starting to weaken. If Mbappé leaves after 1 year, what does that say to the next generational talent they try to sign? What does it say to Endrick? To the players they're currently scouting? It says the dream doesn't always match the reality. And that is a dangerous narrative for a club that runs entirely on prestige. Now, the Saudi angle, because you knew I was coming back to it. Al-Hilal, that's the name. Al-Hilal have reportedly been in contact with Mbappe's representatives, and the numbers being discussed are, I genuinely had to reread this when I first saw it, reportedly in the region of 250 million euros over 2 years in total earnings. Not transfer fee, earnings, for a player who is 25 years old. Now, Mbappé has always publicly said he doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia before he's in his 30s. He said it clearly, more than once, but people say a lot of things before 250 million euros is on the table. Money has a way of rewriting a man's principles faster than anything else in football, whether he goes to Liverpool, whether the Saudi deal materializes, or whether there is a third option we haven't even heard about yet. One thing is now absolutely clear. Kylian Mbappe's time at Real Madrid is ending. The dream collapsed faster than anyone imagined, and the fallout from this is going to reshape the entire summer transfer window in ways we can't even fully calculate yet. So, here's what I want to know from you, and I mean this. Drop it in the comments right now. Do you think Mbappé made a mistake going to Real Madrid, or did Real Madrid fail him? Because I genuinely think this debate is 50-50, and I want to see where you all stand. If you are not subscribed to this channel yet, please do it right now. I post every single day, and I promise you, the next few weeks of this transfer window are going to be absolutely insane, and you do not want to be the person catching up on news everyone else already knew. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next one.